Hello, and today's tutorial will be using iMovie, and we've pre-created some pictures of a slow motion with using Play-Doh, and we're also going to show you a couple of features on how to insert title headings and sound effects. And let's get started. So when you first open up iMovie, you'll notice that you'll have this screen area, and this section here is where you'll find your videos will import when you record them from any device such as your camera or phone. And this is the area where you drag information to. This window over here will show you what the product looks like. So one of the features that comes embedded in iMovie is an effect which zooms in and out. So the first thing we need to do is create a project. So we go to File, New Project, and we're going to call this project Animation Flower Experiment. And if you have a look here, these are the sections where you can pick widescreen or standard. Everything's widescreen these days, so I would leave that. And here it's asking if you want to automatically add a cross dissolve, and we won't do that just yet. We'll just click create. But if you wanted to add a theme for anybody wanting to do movies and adding a pre-selected theme, there's a variety to pick from. But for this experience, we're going to choose no theme because we want to select our own themes and effects. We don't want them pre-selected by the device. So at this point you click create, and you now have a project name. And if you go to the file menu and you scroll down, you'll see that this is where you've got all the different options such as import from a camera. And if you have a look at all the other menus, you can see that it's got similar features that you've seen in other programs, like undoing features, which is useful in case you make mistakes and you want to undo them. You've got information on how to trim. Special effects are in here as well. You've got ways of viewing things. So for example, if you want to change the way you're viewing the whole scene, you can. You've got the control of the text. So if you're not happy with the text that you select, you can change it. You've got the share options here, which at the moment are grayed out, but you can see that you can share this to YouTube, to Facebook, and all sorts of things to be able to save your work. And you've got a window that is standard with looking at the clip adjustments and all sorts of things. And of course your help. A lot of people don't realise the importance of help, and there's a lot of help on all these sorts of tutorials. And if you're using Windows Movie Maker or any other equivalent, there's a lot of step-by-step tutorials. But because we're using this program in the labs today, that's why I'm giving this explanation. All right, in the File menu, we want to go to Project Properties, and we're going to have a quick overview here. Again, we've got the different types of screens. The frame rate, so is it 25 frames per second? So that's that can be controlled here, which is the setting for PAL system, and you leave that as it is. The transition duration, that's when you put in a transitional effect, that's how long it'll last. The theme transition duration, so if you have a theme setting, it comes pre-selected with a whole lot of things. The one thing we want to change here is what is known as a Ken Burns effect. I might have called it a Ken Doan effect somewhere, but it's actually Ken Burns. And you want to have it as fit in the frame. And same with the initial video placement. The initial video placement, you want it to be fitting in a frame. How long does a photo last? The photo duration. Well, here it's for 4 seconds. So if this was a picture of a scene of, say, a wedding, and there was a wedding crowd and you're trying to find your face in that crowd, then 4 seconds is a great time. But you're not making videos for weddings, you're making an animation. So you need to make the videos the photo duration as quick as possible. And later on you'll see you can individually change the actual setting to half a second. And you want to click this to apply to all photos. And the title fade duration, you might want to slide it here. How long does the title take to fade? That you can move it down just a little bit or leave it. At this point, you click OK. Now if you do have some pictures ready to animate, this is how you can import them. You can either import them from your folder of your camera, and you select them all, and you can, if you're happy with the pictures that you want, you can pop them straight in. So at this point in class today, the students, we all did a very quick animation, and we used a tripod, and everybody had a turn at making one aspect of the Play-Doh, and we've made a flower. It's very, very basic, but it's about encouraging you to try these things this week to get to know your technology, and that means the technology of the tripod, needing to secure the background, and how generally iMovie works. Okay, so once you've selected your photos, you can change the order around by selecting each photo and moving it. So if you're not happy with that there, you can move it here. These are in order in sequential order, so these should be right. At this point you can have a look and see if there's any duplicates that you want to get rid of. You can do that as well. And one of the things that's, when you see the yellow box selecting it, that means you're controlling that moment in time. Now if you hit play, we can see what this looks like. There's two plays. There's the play in full screen, which looks like this, and it shows you your presentation, and you can see it's showing one photo per second, which is nice, but it's a bit too slow for a slow motion. Or you can look at this through the window on the side here, and it shows you what's happening and at which point, which is really good, because if you get a moment where there's fingers in the way or shadows, this is the point where you can delete photos that didn't work out. Okay, so the question is, how do you change the seconds? Well, the quick way, so that I can do this to all of it, is I can select all by hitting the Command A, and I pick one of the settings here. See how it's got a little timer here? It's got clip adjustments. So that little standard picture is for settings, and here I can pick 0.5 and I can apply it to all the stills. And it's got here, do you want a video effect? And I go, no, not really. We don't want one of those, so we cancel that. So we want no effects, and click done. All right, now if we play this, oh, it's going much faster. That's a better effect. All right, so that's today's effort. All right, at this point of the tutorial, we may want to add a title, and this is where you go to find a selection of titles. Now notice here, it's got, you can set a theme if you want to, a preset theme, but we're going to select no theme, and we're going to grab one of these and put a title. Now if you put a title at the beginning, we'll see what happens. Drop it in onto the first menu, and here you can start your title, which is flower animation. Okay, and down here you can, if you're happy with that, you can put by Mrs. Barros for year 3. Okay, and if you want to control these menus, you can change these here, or you can right mouse click and find the same thing here. Fonts, you can show the colours. If you want to pick different colours, you can do so. But remember to pick colours that are going to be easily seen. Okay, so we've got a green. Okay. Alright, at this point, if you want to see what that looks like, you hit the play button. Now notice it's not showing for very long, so what you can do here is you can stretch it so that it looks a little bit longer. Flower animation by Mrs. Barros. Okay. we're all in play mode, so you're allowed to make mistakes at this point. Alright, the second thing is we have asked you that you include credits. So at this point you can grab some credits and pop them in the back. And here it allows you to pick all sorts of backgrounds, and because we're going to stick to the theme that we've been using, we're going to select green. So animation, and I'll put in Marciel, and because I'm coming up with the ideas as producer, and I had Rachel earlier helping me, to support. And then I know that I've created some music, sound effects, sound, and you're wondering where did I get that from? Well, here in the sound effects there is a variety of sound effects that we're going to embed, and this comes from iLife sound effects. So I'll put iLife sound effects and video, Marciel for video. And of course we want to put copyright 2013, which is the year that we're working in, so always put the year date. All right, at this point we can now see what we have, and it's just a draft. You can see we have our claymation, and we've got our flowers, we've got a title, and we've got a credit roll, and that's a good start. How many seconds so far? It's all total 14 seconds. Now our parameters for our project is from 15 to 30 seconds, so you can see how quickly it is to use up time. So if you want to make that shorter, you can crop it down to here, and if you want to delete anything at this point, this is where you can delete things. So at this point I want to make the credit roll a little bit shorter, and I want to crop this section here. And to crop anything you can delete the selection, and that'll crop it. Okay, so I've cropped a few seconds off that. I might crop a few more, so I'll show you again. I'm going to crop that there and crop the selection. And the other thing you can also do is you can split a clip. You can split it like that, and then when you select that you hit delete. Alright, and delete that selection. Alright, so one more time, let's see what we've done. And you can see the credit rolls at the back, and it gives you an idea. So far we're up to 11 seconds, and I think we'll stop here because now it's a good time to have a bit of a coffee break. For the next part we'll show you how to put in some sound effects, okay, and some transitions.